Hi, it's Jen from Shabby Fabrics with a really special tutorial for you. This is called Holiday Bells. I love this. It's called Give and Take. So cool, a wonderful pattern. Again, Holiday Bells by Patchwork Studios. They have graciously allowed me to bring this tutorial to you to show you how this process works. We fell in love with this Christmas collection. I think it's Christmas Joy from Northcott. Of course, this beautiful metallic accent, that perfect harmony of just enough metallic accent to be so tastefully elegant without being too much metallic, which can happen. I think it's just beautiful, both in the red here on the table with me, as well as the blue. Table runners here. Backings included, because we know you probably can't decide between the blue and the red, and I know often as we gather for the holidays we have lots of company. Maybe you have two different dining tables. Maybe you want to make one of each color. So we're making the pattern an add-on. That way you only need to get that pattern just the one time, but you can get as many kits as you'd like in either colorway or maybe both. So I can't wait to show you what give and take means. I love that this, without giving it away, let me just dive in and show you what I mean by this give and take concept. So, of course, you can imagine, you don't want to trace and cut all of that out now. I know you don't want to do that. And again, the designer of this pattern, Patchwork Studios, has graciously allowed us to laser cut this for you. So wonderful. What a time saver and precise, because you can imagine it needs to be just perfect. So I don't know if the overhead can capture this, but this is our laser cut. Be very careful when you're punching out the shapes, because you will be using this outer portion. Normally when we're doing laser cut applique, once we've punched all the shapes out, this part is generally discarded. Not in this case. We will be using the leftover shape of that to make another block, and that's the give and take. That is what we mean by that. So we're very carefully punching everything out, and of course you're continuing on like that. Now I've done that with this one here just to save us a little bit of time. You'll want to, with all of these shapes here, to remove that paper. You're just folding that back and removing that. You'll want to do that for the shapes, but not the main background here. And the reason being, let me just put this aside because I've already punched these out for us. The reason being is this is going to be our frame, our side picture. And I'm going to get this going to a medium heat. I know as quilters, we love to crank this all the way up. I'm in that crowd. But for any time we're doing fusible applique, we need to bring that to a medium heat. Everything's punched out except for, punched out and paper removed, except for this piece. This will now, I'm going to bring this kind of center stage. We're going to have our background fabric cut. That'll of course be in your kit. And you're placing the shape right over that. Go ahead and anchor that in the corners with some pins right into your wool pressing mat. Maybe you have an ironing board so that this is not going to shift on you. For all of the shapes except for what looks kind of like the letter L, put that one aside. That will happen a little bit later on here. Everything else will be, I'm going to put that right there so I'm not tempted to even do that. Everything else now will be placed here. This is the framework of where our shapes will be placed back. And we'll iron everything down. And of course, everything is going to stay down that has the backing removed, but this larger piece will not, because we've kept the backing on. So it is, you cannot remove the background at this time of this larger frame that's really going to be our placement. We need that so that everything is being placed. What's nice about this, you don't need the assistance of a light box here. This is in lieu of using a light box. So if you've ever been like, I don't like using light boxes. Maybe I don't have a light box. You don't need a light box. And I love that about this. So we're going to put everything in place. Now we'll come in. This is so cool. What a cool idea. I love that. I love that there's no waste. Every part gets used. And I see that some of the fabrics have metallic, like this one, and others do not. So that's kind of a fun thing as well. All right, once you believe everything is down, and I normally would just put this here and let it pop up, but I just kind of want to get that off and out of my way. So I'm going to put that over here for now. We can unpin that, and we'll lift this away. And there is your first block. And if you need to reinforce anything, go ahead and do that. Isn't that incredible? What a cool, like I said, what a cool thing. So that one's ready to go. Now, so we've got, that's this block here. For this block here, we have our background. And of course now we'll remove our paper from the main background, the big shape here. I think I'll just move that out of the way again to make sure we're perfectly positioned. For that little L shape that we kept behind, here, we'll go ahead and remove that. If you keep the paper from your big bell shape, I kept that, you can place that right back in position. And that's going to show you exactly where that goes. And you can either just iron that down like that, or just move it out of the way. Incredible. And of course, now you can do your applique stitching with some beautiful blue. And everything is down to the background. Just such, again, it's so retro. I just love that. It reminds me of the bells that were hanging always in my grandmother's house. That kind of classic bells with the beautiful bow. I love it. Okay, that's how we will do the applique. The patchwork component, very straightforward. You've got a little bit of strip piecing here. We have our two pieces sewn together. Go ahead and press that to your dark. And it looks like our strips, let's see what we've got here. Looks like those are 2 1/4. So whatever that measurement is, that's the size I'm going to be cutting those. I'm just going to trim that off. I'm just going to confirm what measurement I've got here. Okay, so 2 1/4. Once and for a second time. And of course, we are going to have some nice interlocking seams to start off with. Right there's that really nice lock. Let's pin that. I've got some aids on my machine. I have the Cluck Cluck Sew diagonal seam tape as well as the seam guide. If those are new to you, check out those videos. They're wonderful to just really help us dial in that 1/4 inch seam allowance. You know, I need to crank up my iron now that we're doing some patchwork. So let's just take a look back here at this unit so you're able to see what we're doing. So that whenever you are initially doing your strip piecing, we like to press to the dark. Once you've got the interlocking seams, now our goal is to evenly distribute that bulk, and that's why now we're going to press that seam open. So let's do that. Put that applique over to the side for the moment while we focus on some patchwork. For your corners here, we'll grab one of our squares. Of course, your measurement will be in your pattern. And for this one, we'll cut once on the diagonal. And actually, that's going to be really over here in these corners. That'll come a little bit later. For this piece here, that's going to be bracketing that. Let me bring that piece out right here. We'll cut twice. Whatever, if you're working with a spinning mat, that's great. If not, just put your fabric in a position that you do not have to move it. We want to cut twice, once on one diagonal and once on the other. A great project, by the way, for using sizing. Anytime bias is going to come into play, it's a good idea to add some sizing. I can feel that I have that in my fabric right now. So let's look at this. This is where we are. And this is what we need to be doing. So, right side together. Let's sew that 1/4 inch seam. And you can see we would press through the outside for that. And again here, I'm going to sew from this side. And just trim off those dog ears there. There's my rotary cutter. Okay, so that is how we're making those sides here. Because of the arrangement, and I'm going to try to make a little bit of space here and bring that over. It's a diagonal construction. So let's look at that real quick. This is called on point. So for that reason, once we're assembling, in fact, we can just sew that together. Let's do that. And you can feel that it's thicker, of course, because we've got the fusible on there. And this definitely wants to press to the outside with that fusible. So that's what I mean by the diagonal construction. And then of course here, in fact, I'll just go sew that one. I want to show you pinning that intersection. I'll just sew this real quick. And I'll be back, and let's do that construction together of that intersection. Okay. So let's look at what we've got here. We have, I'm trying to get my bearings here. So we're here, and that, whenever you have opposing seams, as we do here, let me just repress that seam open. That's our goal. We very much want to have interlocking seams right here. Let me reacclimate. I'm making sure I'm doing that right. Yes. So let's look at that from above. Of course, seams are going in opposite directions. This is where you will pin first, right here. And then pin everywhere else. So that's an important function to understand, that in order for the table runner points to be coming out exactly, that's where you're going to pin first. And this is later. Okay. Let's sew that. And let's check out that. Of course, our points are coming together very nicely right there in the center because we focused on that. Definitely going to be, wow, you've got seams wanting to go all kinds of directions. I can see this wants to lay in this direction. I'd go with that. You could try to force that seam open. I wouldn't. Generally, I let a seam talk to me and tell me what it wants, unless there's a reason I can't comply with that natural desire of the fabric. Every now and again, we kind of can't because of the way a block maybe goes together. But here, I'm going to go with that. Once you have these assembled this way, then you can be adding your corners. Let's look at that. Those are the pieces that we added here. And of course, we're going to be wanting to find that center here. I would take this and find that center, bringing this together and do a finger press here, making sure that everything is lined up. Right there's my fold here. So your 1/4 inch press to the outside and do the same here. Same technique, and then you're on your way. So simple, so simple. And I just love the laser cut. You're just jumping into the fun. You're not having to trace and cut all this out. You've got these beautiful shapes, perfectly cut. What is your favorite, red or blue or both? I know I can't decide. And I do have those tables that I bring out just for the holidays and really try to doll up that and just make it feel special for those guests that have chosen to spend some time with our family for the holidays. So thank you for letting me show you how easy it is to put together the Holiday Bells table runner in either red or blue. Again, pattern will be an add-on, so if you need to get more than one kit, or maybe you just can't resist, you're going to do both, you'll able to just be sure to add that on. Thanks again. I will see you soon on another Shabby video.